It's time for Tastemaker Talk, the podcast for food creators who want to level up their business and make an impact in the creator economy. I'm Abby Rodriguez.
And I'm Chandice Probst. We are your hosts and fellow food content creators here to dive deep into the trends, tools, and topics shaping the industry around us. There's so much to uncover, so let's talk about it. Tastemaker Talk. Welcome back to Tastemaker Talk. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for our guest today. He's one of my favorite people, just so vivacious and fun and talented. And so I'm just going to welcome Kalen, our award-winning actor, television personality, and singer. Kalen Allen has catapulted into the mainstream media, reaching millions of people worldwide across his social media platforms and through his unique content. Welcome, Kalen.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Did that almost reach the level of introduction excitement of anything else that you've done?
At this rate, it's like I'm just happy to still be introduced, you know?
You're doing so many amazing things. And I do want to start with that because the way that I describe you to everybody, whenever I tell anybody we're doing our 10th anniversary in Tastemaker and our MC is coming back, Kalen Allen, he's worked with, Ellen and Oprah, and he made his Broadway debut in Elf. That's my favorite thing to tell everybody is that you are an elf because I'm a Christmas girl forever.
I love
So what do you have any exciting things coming out that you can hint to us about?
Well, I've spent a lot of time figuring out the work that I love to do. I've been blessed to be able to do this at a very high level for a long time. And I think I've gotten to a place in my life of being like, but what is the kind of work that actually excites me, that makes me feel fulfilled? So I think I'm leaning a little bit more into that. And so what I can say is a lot of this stuff, of course, hasn't been announced. But what I can say is that I am going back to the stage soon.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait. I know I need to come see you on stage. So I can't wait to find out what it is coming back to the East Coast,
Yes.
hopefully. Um that's so exciting. We can't wait to see all the things you're doing. And I've really loved lately. I've felt that you've always been true to who you are and transparent. But I feel like lately you're kind of in your no era where you're like, I'm going to say no to what doesn't fulfill me. And you've been advocating for others to do the same.
Yeah, I definitely have become a little bit more centralized. I used to be a type of person that kind of just did any and everything. And I'm not really interested in that in this part of my life. I think I am trying to find the balance between work and life because I have a tendency to just do all this work to where there's no room to actually live anymore.
Right. Which is kind of, it kind of defeats the purpose. I saw this quote the other day that said, take the trip, go with your
Mhm,
friends,
mhm.
uh, you know, take the break because there's no reason being um, the wealthiest person in the cemetery. That's what it said. And it's like, and
Well,
it's true, right? You need,
mhm.
you need to build those
But
friendships.
and even if you feel like you don't have the means or the resources to be able to go on like a say like a international trip or something like that, there are ways to find ways to pour into yourself. So like something for me is like if I've had a really rough week or I'm like, oh, I need to pick me up. Sometimes I will find a Sonic drive-in, even if it's 45 minutes away, and I will drive there and give me a cherry limeade because
Yes.
it's comforting to me. It helps me reset. And sometimes that's enough to get me through the next stages.
I love that. And that's what, $2. $2 plus gas, which is a little higher right now, but it's that simple reset that's not a full on trip.
When was the last time you been to Sonic? Because I can tell you right now, Sonic cherry limeade is not $2.
You know what? It's probably been about 15 years.
I'm about to say, because I'm like, I don't know what Sonic you going to, but I know
Not
for
$2.
sure it ain't $2.
Okay. But less than a trip to Italy, yeah?
Correct. Well, yes, yes, yes.
So I love that. And so tell us a little bit about what excites you. You're finding the things that matter most to you. And I think this is a level and a stage in life when things are hard for a lot of people. And so to come to that place and decide what matters most to you, pour into that instead of
Mm.
a little bit of everything, you know?
I mean, it's hard because it's also a journey and has its ups and its downs. So it's often hard to even find that balance. I think for me, what I've done is I've started to think of like before I was ever on Ellen or before I ever had this dream of doing big and great things. I was like, at the core of it, what made me feel happy? Why did I ever want to be an artist? Why did I ever want to be a host? Or what was the reason behind it? And I think at the end of the day, it was always that I wanted to serve the people. And so I think I'm trying to find ways to do that a little bit more because I do feel like when you work in this business, it gets a little hard because sometimes you start to feel like you're just a billboard for brands, or you feel like you're just kind of going around the world and always talking about like, well, get this or buy that, but it's not actually serving the people. And to me, that's what entertainment is supposed to be. And so I've kind of centered the work that I want to do moving forward to be centered around that.
I love that. I love that. And I think with that, I know you've built a career around sharing commentary, reactions, opinions in a way that is both entertaining and thoughtful. So how do you think about the responsibility that comes with having that digital platform and kind of um that is what people know you for?
Well, the difference is the way we think about responsibility. Because I have two responsibilities. One, the first is responsibility to me as an artist, as a creator, as talent to do stuff that also makes me feel happy so that I continue to do it, you know? I think the second part of it, while there is a responsibility to the audience, however, I do not belong to the audience. And I think that's what is often misunderstood about this business because people do create parasocial relationships with talent, with people that they see online. And so I'm always trying to make sure that it is clear that I am not only honoring the audience and what they want to see, but making sure that I'm also honoring myself.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. I think sometimes with this kind of thing, we get lost in thinking that, well, because we have an audience, our responsibility to them is a lot different than, oh, well, and those parasocial relationships. We think that we owe them so much. But if at the core of what you're doing, if it doesn't bring you joy, they're going to feel that too. Have you noticed
Correct.
that with your audience that they've actually
Oh,
resonated more as you are true to yourself?
I mean, I see it in the quality of the work. When
Yes.
it's stuff that I actually care about, you can tell that I package it better. I produce it better. I put it together better. When it's something that I don't care about, you can tell in the way that I present it, you know? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're absolutely correct with this idea that in order to create something that brings joy to people, the joy has to live inside you.
It does.
That's the only way that it works. But see, that's the difference from because I am an artist first. You know, and I think people look at the food reaction videos and they think that that's who I am. And that was an accident. And I think I'm standing a little bit more in that now of being like, I understand that people love that part of my career, but it's not who I ever wanted to be. And I don't believe that those things were the things that I was supposed to do for my entire career. I think that that's what I needed in order to get the door open to do what I actually want to do.
And that's okay. Look at all the celebrities who evolve, and people
Correct.
have a hard time watching that sometimes. They're like, "Oh, no, you can't change. You can't do drama now when you were our funny guy."
Right.
Yes, they can because if that's what they love, you know? So, with that, I think we're in a place where there's a lot of burnout happening, especially amongst creators and artists. So, what would be your suggestion to them when they're feeling that burnout?
You know what's so funny about questions like these? I always think they're interesting because the questions are always brought to those of us that are seen as successful or thriving or whatever. And I'm like, I experienced the same thing. Like, I'm like, yeah, I could come here and give you some tips and tricks, but I experienced burnout too.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I don't have all the answers. To me, those things are human. And it doesn't matter how much money you make or how big your platform is or how successful you are. Those are human experiences. There is no tip, there is no trick that I can give you that is going to solve that for you because also your life is your life. So holistically, you just need to look at what is the process that you use in order to find yourself back to a stable place.
Right.
And then
Find
you
your
need to
cherry limeade.
yes, find your cherry limeade, find your solution. Because I can say all day, yeah, just take a break. But I also have the privilege of being able to take a break. Somebody else does not have that privilege to take a break. So then what's the advice that you give the person that got what? I don't know, multiple kids, multiple jobs, single parent, working 9 to 5 every day, working 3 jobs. My advice to them is not going to be the same.
True. True. But I do think that that little moment that you said of finding your cherry limeade, those little moments, it's almost like, romanticizing our life just a little bit,
Absolutely.
right? That's one of my favorite things. I love whimsy, and romanticizing life has been helpful because obviously, it's not like we're just putting our head in the clouds, but it's finding joy in the daily tasks that we're gonna do anyway. And have you
Yes.
found more joy in doing that?
Yes, absolutely. It's using your imagination. Like sometimes there are days I wake up where I feel like the adult me has gotten a little too tough. So I'll go back and watch like Dragon Tales.
Aw.
And I'll remind myself of a different time when things were simpler, and then that helps me kind of reset my mind. So there are different innovative ways, or even if it's a case of like you just spent the 2 weeks ordering out, putting it in your schedule. No, I'm gonna make dinner tonight and I'm gonna make this specific meal because that's what's going to calm me. Or like I'm gonna go on a walk right now.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really important thing, and food really does fuel your brain, your heart, your everything, and it's so easy to order out, but also cooking a meal in home and making time for that really does make a difference. What is your go-to comfort meal?
Ooh. You know what? Actually, I do have one. I love butter chicken.
Ooh, that's a good
Oh, I
one.
love a butter chicken. Oh, I love a butter chicken. It's definitely my comfort meal. It changes depending on where I am and where I am in my life and what I'm living through, then that's how I kind of decide like what it has to be a craving. Like it's such a feeling. Like it's not something like I just wake up and like, oh, this is my comfort dish. It's like sometimes I'm just sitting around, I'm like, oh, you know what I want so bad? Like, for instance, I'm from Kansas City. So for a long time, frozen custard was all I wanted. Like I was like, yes, I want frozen custard. But then it's hard to find frozen custard places. So you can't be everywhere.
So, Kalen, so much of your work has blended humor and personality. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but how do you balance being entertaining? We've talked about this, but also being true to your values because, like you said, this is kind of the era where you're choosing the things that matter most to you, but you're still an entertainer at heart. So, how do you balance that, especially when things are hard in your life or when you feel like
Mm.
you do want to give back more to the people in a meaningful way?
Well, I think the goal moving forward is to kind of always make sure that where the entertainment is coming from a place of honesty and reality of who I actually am, and not necessarily feeding a beast for the sake of the paycheck or the brand deal or something like that, but being and also telling more of my actual real life story and my real lived experience. I think also being a little bit more transparent about what it is actually like being me and what that has been like, I think also then kind of opens that door.
Absolutely, and I've loved seeing that on your social media. It's created a warmth and a barrier. You've always been warm, but it's broken down a barrier for people, I think for sure.
Mm, I love that.
And how has it felt? Has it felt so freeing to say no to certain paychecks to be like, "Actually, that doesn't align with my values?" Has it felt really incredible?
Well, yeah, but it's also scary. I mean,
Yes
we
and
work
no.
in this business of like, you don't know when the check is coming. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So it's like every time you say no, you're like, but will there be another thing coming to say yes to
right.
soon? Or
Yes.
how long will that thing come? You know what I mean? So I think that's the tricky part about this business too. But that's any freelancer can agree with that, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's what I am. I'm a
Yeah.
freelancer, you
Right.
know? So it's like, yes, it is in it, but it is great to know that I have the privilege to be able to even have that option.
Right.
That's what I'll say.
Right, right. And probably, it takes a little bit of like trust that by saying no to this, a bigger yes will open up or a bigger door will open up for you.
And that alone is faith.
I love it. I love that. What a great example for all those creators out there who are trying to find that balance of making it, if you will, in their niche and doing well, but also not losing themselves in the process, right? Um,
Yeah.
so if there's anything you could go back and say to Kalen 10 years ago, what might you say to him?
Mm. 10 years ago, I think I would probably say that, oh, see, this is another reason why. So the reason why I think I struggle with this is like I am so superstitious about stuff like that.
Okay,
Like when
okay.
like every but the reason why I say this is because in every video or movie we have ever seen that was about the future,
Yes.
whenever somebody has gone back and said anything
It
to a
messed it up.
past self, what is
Yes.
usually it messed it up.
You're
It messed it
so
up.
you're
I
so
don't
right.
I don't have nothing to go back and say
I love it. I
because
love
I just feel like everything that happened in my life or at that time was necessary. I just think even the mistakes are necessary for whatever the journey is.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's a really powerful statement for others is that we don't need to worry about going back and changing anything. Just move forward, like you said, with that faith. And I know, do you know that when I was in college, I went with my friends to see the movie The Butterfly Effect? Not that I recommend that movie. It was
Hmm.
incredibly scary and overwhelming. And I
I was
left
about to say, ain't it a
it's so
little
scary.
dark?
Yes, it's so dark. It was
Mm-hmm.
probably the darkest movie I ever saw, but I left the theater in tears because I was so, like,
Mm.
traumatized by all the ways they tried to go back and change things, but nothing ever got changed. The other things other people got
Oh,
hurt or things like that. So I actually love your
correct.
answer because it is truth, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. To me, it's like it's the law of cause and effect.
Yes.
That's really what it is. You
Yeah.
know, something happens and then it becomes something else, and then that thing impacts so many other people in so
Yes.
many different situations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, absolutely, and I think
Yeah.
that's what we don't see along the way is our struggle could be someone else's
Mm-hmm.
strength, right? It could be something
Mm-hmm.
that brought someone else, joy. So, Kaylin, 2027 will be your 3rd time back as an MC for Tastemaker Conference, which is such a special milestone. It's our 10th anniversary. We couldn't imagine anyone but you coming back. So what keeps you coming back every year?
You know, I've always had a soft spot for food creators. You know, I mean, that's kind of how I got started. Also, being Food Network. I think food in general is so healing for the world, and I just love to be able to separate that community. And also, there's something very artistic and whimsical about food creators too that I think is very refreshing and just always excited to be in the room.
I love that, and your some of my favorite food content you've ever done has been the Disney food content. I
Mm.
loved it. So is Kalen still a Disney fan? Does he still love this version of Kalen? Does he still love to do all of that?
Well, absolutely. You know, I'm part of a collective called Disney's Power of Joy, and we're actually having our reunion this weekend. And so I'm at Disney all the time, but also I'm a part of the Disney family now. So there's some things coming out soon that may include a voice of mine here and there. So I'm excited for that.
To be the best. I cannot wait. Yay. All right, Kalen, thank you so much for joining us. We have a little rapid
Of
fire for
course.
you. It's this or
All
that,
right.
okay? So
Okay.
order, pickup, or dine in.
Oh, that's hard. I'm gonna say dine in.
Yes, the full experience, huh?
Yes. Well,
Love it.
I only because the other one was order pickup. I was like, if it would have been delivery, then it probably would have been different. But if I'm gonna go to the restaurant to pick it up, I might as well eat it there.
That's right. That's a good one. All right, TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram,
Love it. Hot take or no comment?
no comment.
I love it.
Everything doesn't need a hot take.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much, Kaylin. You are
Of
always so
course.
inspiring. We are excited to hang out with you in San Antonio. We encourage all of you, if you haven't got your ticket yet for Tastemaker 2027, come hang out with us and Kaylin. Where can our guests find you if they want to learn more about your story and all the things you're doing?
I mean, I make it very easy everywhere at the Kalen Allen.
Perfect. That is so easy. I love it. And definitely go check out his story and all the things that you're doing. It's just incredible. And we can't wait to see all the fun announcements. And we appreciate you. Thanks for joining today, Kalen.
No, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Tastemaker Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know by leaving a review, giving us a rating, or sharing it with your creator friends.
And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
You can find more from us on our website, tastemakerconference.com, or even join us for an event where we learn and grow as a community of creatives.
The conversation doesn't stop here. Talk soon.